Hey folks, we call the meeting to order here at about 7:02 on October 5th, Tuesday, 1 Academy Street. First item on the agenda is pledge of allegiance. Please stand and join us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
I know we were gonna have a couple people zoom in, and it looks like there's a couple waiting. I don't know who's running Zoom,
Okay.
so I just wanna.
Yeah,
bring
I
it to
see
your
that. Yeah, I
attention.
can barely see the seal in there. Got a couple people in the waiting room. We're gonna let in.
There's nothing on there.
Yeah, well, click on
You're way up on top. Way up, you don't see it?
You want me to do it, David?
Go ahead. Yeah, there you go.
Usually the screen's on the side. I don't know why it's not.
Is this one?
Where are you going to me?
Yeah, you have to tap the right side.
Make sure you put it on.
Oh, it's
The
backwards.
right button.
Yeah, there you go.
Alright.
Yeah, it is. I know.
There's Bethany. You let her in.
Because it's left-handed.
Yeah, I know.
I guess
You're
I should
welcome.
run it then.
Down one more.
You got another one there too, David.
Yeah, well, I'm getting there.
All right. Someday we'll get this Zoom so it works and tap your
You
fingers.
might want to try that Microsoft program. It's the same as Zoom, but it's that, some people told me it's easier to use.
Howard will find some.
Zoom Rangers.
There.
There we go.
Everybody's in there now, right?
See anybody you're looking for, Joel?
Yeah, Colleen is under the one,
Okay.
Christina. Yep.
All right.
And it should be Judy Ashline, should be, probably get checked in at some point.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. Oh, agenda review. I got. We need personnel for executive session. Personnel under executive session, we'll add. I think everything else on here needed. Excuse me. I'm good. You got anything to add, Mark?
Yeah, under new town business, put under 5C, town administrator job description.
5C, yeah, okay.
That's it.
Okay. Kathy, anything to add? Anything for the agenda?
No, I'm good.
David, you got anything to add to the agenda? No. Add anything?
All good.
Good.
I think,
I just wanted to add one thing I thought of, budgets. We're gonna put that under new business.
I was going to send it out
Mhm.
at the, before the next
First
meeting.
new business, we'll go D, new, budget stuff.
I did have one thing, let me make sure.
Well, you better make sure.
I didn't. Here it is. I already put it in.
I'm good.
Yeah, under, highway, I want to add the grant and aid.
What is it?
That we received, grant and aid award that
Yeah.
I mentioned to you.
Where do you wanna put it?
Under highway
Okay. Highway C, grant.
and aid, and that was for that culvert on Campbell
All right.
Bay Road. I took,
Yeah. Yeah. close enough. Anything else, David?
Nope.
All right. I hear a motion to approve the minutes of September 21st meeting, the site meeting and the regular meeting.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of December 21st, 2021 site visit and the select board regular zoning meeting.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Which is the first one, next. David, do you have Jim on the agenda?
Yep, should be.
He is?
Yep. Sure.
Well, I don't see it. It's not under law enforcement.
What was that on?
No, because that was the last.
Alright, well, I need to add 3D. Yeah,
He was supposed to be on for
Yeah.
the next meeting.
I haven't seen it.
He
yeah,
had signed off, so he was able to attend it.
perfect. Public comment, anything to add under public comment that's not on the agenda?
Just real quick, if I could, it's not related to the 4th Street stuff. Just want to put a plug in for Meals on Wheels. I know we've done it in the past here. They are short drivers in the Swanton area. I'm one of the drivers, so they keep calling me to try to cover on other days. And if you're out there and you're retired, you've got a little bit of time on your hands, it takes a couple hours. You can set your own schedule of when you do it, but it's Age Well Vermont who you would have to contact. I just want to put a plug in.
Absolutely.
I know the police department helps out with that too.
We do it on Tuesdays.
Yeah, I think I covered it today.
We appreciate it. We had
Yeah, no problem.
And the phone number for that is on the town website on the employment.
It's on the town website, phone number of that, so anything interested?
On
Yeah,
the volunteer employment page.
yeah, I don't know. Do we have any other place we can advertise in the town of Swanton to
On a
help?
sign, electronic sign.
Yeah,
Get a chance maybe.
yeah, why don't you put something on there, I don't see why you can't. Anything will help, so,
Absolutely.
yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Joel, for doing that, and all you folks that do that. Law enforcement, chief report. Somewhere's here, so.
It's
Good evening.
by itself.
Yeah.
It's printed by itself. It's
Yeah, I got
same
it.
right here. Same look as
File.
always.
It's all you?
So for the month of September, we handled a total of 66 calls. We actually, I forget if we told the select board before, we actually changed over to a new computer system for the state, but unfortunately,
Yep.
less than 48 hours after that system was put online, it was taken offline because this, unfortunately, the state didn't prepare itself adequately, so we're hoping to go back on sometime in the future, so I hate to split the calls, but
Yeah.
total of 66 for the month. We had a total of 3 motor vehicle violations for tickets for the month, and a total of 14 warnings that were issued. I had to split those numbers up again between those two computer systems. One motor vehicle stop of noteworthiness, and it pertains to all the car breaks that we had in the town, the village, and all the surrounding communities in the village. Our canine unit actually ended up doing some surveillance on a suspect involved in that. So you may see on one of the stops that it happened at High Street in Fairfield down in St. Albans. We actually followed that car from Meadow Lane in the town down there. We
Yeah.
conducted a motor vehicle stop, and that person who we stopped, we ended up arresting them, but they
Yeah.
are a person of interest for all those breaks. That's an ongoing investigation, but
Perfect.
if there was a question on why that stop was conducted in the
Nope.
town of Swan, I'm
No,
sorry.
no
about
problem.
St.
I
Albans.
see it there now, so.
Also, in regards to, I received an email from the select board chair regarding a request by the council to conduct a speed study of Maple Grove Estates.
Yeah.
We went out there today to do that. We were going to use a speed spy box. Unfortunately, there was no place we could attach it.
That's
So
what
what we're
we're
going
gonna
to do is we're going to go back out tomorrow with our trailer, use that for the speed study.
Okay.
Leave it out there until we can get those numbers, and then
Perfect.
we'll get that back to you, the select board, as soon as possible.
Yeah, that might even work better, yeah.
Okay.
I hadn't thought of that, so.
Yeah, we just didn't have a tree to attach it to.
Yes, no, I know, and after I checked the signs, I said, there's like nothing to tie it to, so.
And that was an issue that we noticed too today when Officer Gilbert went out there. The majority of the road is posted to 30, but we noticed right at the end towards the cul-de-sac, there's a 25-mile-an-hour sign, and we can't actually enforce anything under 25 miles per hour by statute, so
25
we're not
mile an
sure
hour
why.
sign?
Yeah, it's just right at the end of the road. It's on a very short stretch, so we're not sure why that was there.
But our town road stops at the cul-de-sac.
Is that the association?
Yeah.
That's possible, that could
Yeah,
be.
the town doesn't cover
The
that.
town stops at the cul-de-sac, our road does, it's private beyond that.
Okay, so that
Yeah,
probably
I'm gonna say, because I was just up there to check the signs, and they're both 30 coming and going, so.
Okay, we want to make sure of
Yeah,
that before
yeah,
we
no,
started.
that's not, that's somebody else's then.
Okay.
Yeah, we only own to the cul-de-sac, and that's why, it's only a short road, but there's been a lot of complaints about speeding traffic up there, so.
But hopefully, once we get that deployed tomorrow,
Yeah.
we should be able to get some quick numbers.
Okay, perfect, I appreciate it, so. All right. Any questions?
This seems to be the concern of the burglaries and the break-ins has significantly dropped, at least.
Well,
That's what I'm hearing.
Once
What's
we
with
got
that?
that, John, like I said, I don't want to compromise the
Yeah.
investigation, because the state police,
You're good.
we're all investigating at all 4 law enforcement agencies in the state, but state police, who's had the majority of them while they were outside of our contract areas, one of their detectives is the main officer running with that, so he's definitely, I know he's investigating that actively, but we're 99, if not 100% sure the gentleman, our K-9 unit stopped is the suspect.
Yeah,
so-
perfect. Well, thank you for your hard work on that.
I think you put a lot of people at ease anyways, at least temporarily.
You
Yeah.
got,
We were actually deploying a lot of officers
You were
to
saying.
do surveillance, but we just never happened to hit it at the right time. But I ended up going and having an intel meeting with the state police, and we combined our information. And by combining that information, we were actually able to pretty much figure out who it was. So
Yeah,
it was good collaboration, and the state
Yeah.
police has done a phenomenal job doing
Good.
the follow-up with it too.
Good. Thank you.
all right, good. All right, I think we're good. You all all set? Thank you.
Fine, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Health officer report. Do we have any report, David?
No, Joey emailed me one, said he was gonna send me one, but he didn't.
Never did. All right. I'll skip over that then. Discuss health officer vacancy.
Do you wanna do that now, or wait?
I think we can, the candidate's not here anyways, right?
No, she called and said that
She's on,
Oh,
she's
she's
on
on
Zoom.
Zoom.
She's on Zoom.
her child is sick, so she decided to stay home and do it by
Okay.
Zoom.
Do you wanna wait till the end to do it?
Yeah, it's probably-
Yeah, I think we should, so, okay. We'll come back to that at the end then. Seeing she's not here, she's at home, so.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi. Yeah, sorry, I was on mute.
No, you're good. We're gonna go through the rest of the stuff on our agenda, then we'll go into executive session so we can talk to you. Is that okay?
Sure. Do you know around what time, just so I can figure it out?
I don't know exactly. Yeah.
Do you want to call her back when you're available?
We can call you if
What's
you
your
want
phone number?
and tell you ready.
Okay, sure. It's you can call me at 802-347-3227.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, ECO. Jim? There he is. Oh, did I mute himself? Is his report in here?
Hey, Jim.
No, I emailed his reports.
Yeah, there wasn't much on it, so you didn't give us any
No, there
copies.
wasn't, no.
We copy everything else.
What months did you guys want?
There are 3 months, Jim, that.
Yeah, just
we
go
need
over
to-
all 3 of them, Jim. I don't have a copy in front of me, but.
July, August, September.
So July 4th, unlicensed dog, 93 Hog Island. July 13th, dog at large, 25 Canada, the tan pit bull line. It was unfound, I couldn't find it. And then August 15th, 19th Spring for abandoned dog, owner's father picked it up. August 16th, 26 Platt for a man punching his dog. On August 16th, found a white husky, the owner picked it up at Swanton PD. And then September 7th, found dog, owner located and picked it up. Also on the September 7th, there was a dog at large on South River, I couldn't find the dog. It's near the trailer park down there.
Yeah.
Also on September 9th, dogs barking at the night. I don't know the address, I misplaced it. On September 23rd, dog barking and whining during the daytime, 12 Wheeler Round.
Okay.
And that's it. Any questions?
I got one question for you, Jim. The one that someone, you said punched their dog, was that founded or?
I think he did. There's no way to prove it. They moved out of town since then, so they don't live here anymore.
Yeah.
It was his girlfriend's dog, and I told him if I ever heard again, I was going to tell his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Made him get his dog license, but he left town before it was licensed.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Hey, Jim, out of any of these, have you written any warnings on any of these or any documentations at all? Or you just,
No, I don't really have like any way to write warnings unless I was like I have in the past, I wrote letters and sent it to them. Usually I give verbal warnings.
But you have a fine pad, right, that you write your fines on, if you're gonna fine somebody?
Yeah, I have a ticket book.
Ticket book,
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
and
Okay,
I do write tickets, yes,
yes, okay.
yeah.
Any other questions for Jim? Good. All right, thank you, Jim, very much.
Thank you.
Have a
Good
good
night,
night.
guys.
Yep. Old Town Business, discuss Robin Hood Drive lease. That's executive session.
With Dave Foskey.
Okay, we're not talking about that tonight, though, are we?
He wanted to.
Yes, he wants to. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't see him here. Well, we'll come back to it. Yep, we'll do it at the end, we're in executive session.
All right.
Okay. Mvu Sidewalk update from Bethany. I saw her on here. There she is, good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi there.
Can you hear me okay?
We sure can.
Excellent. So thanks for having me on the agenda to have an update on the MVU sidewalk project. So I'm Bethany Remmers with the Northwest Regional Planning Commission, and I'm on contract with the town to serve as your municipal project manager as you go through this project. Rez, do you have a one-page update in front of you by chance?
yeah,
I've got one here somewhere.
Okay, perfect. Just in case I refer to it, we're all on the same page.
Right here.
This is it.
So I was just going to give just a real quick update of where things stand now.
Perfect.
And then I'll just, be available if you have any questions. But I'll just leave it up to you. But essentially, if you're looking on the second page of that update on the back, you're kind of seeing that we are moving through the project development process that VTrans has for using federal funds on these types of projects. We are we've been in a holding pattern for several months because we are waiting for clearance through the National Environmental Policy Act, getting our categorical exclusion approved. And the categorical exclusion, certifies that we're not going to have any significant impacts on resources, and that's a requirement for using this federal funding. So we expect that that paperwork has been in with the feds for many months now. We anticipate having our approval by October 15th, so next week. And then we are going to be full steam ahead in continuing the preliminary design and then getting into right-of-way. So this is just, it's normal that getting the CE, this categorical exclusion, takes this long. Our engineer has been trying to be as efficient as possible, trying to work ahead as much as he can. So he's really ready to go with those preliminary plans as soon as we get our approval. But we will, next week, things will start to pick up again. I just want to touch on the budget. In general, things have been going well with the budget. You will see that our engineering, the engineer has only about $5,000 remaining in their contract. So that is something that we will have to discuss at a future meeting. I anticipate that the engineer will be coming back with an amendment proposal. The good news is that their current contract is much below what you had originally budgeted for engineering. So there is wiggle room in the contract. But I won't say much more about that until we have a proposal from the engineers for you to review and question on if you decide to amend their contract.
Is there a reason, Bethany, why their fees are changing?
So I think, in general, I think that their proposal was low. we've had a couple of more project meetings than we originally had in the request for proposals. So I think that's some of it. You also have two very senior engineers working on this project. You have Roger Dickinson, who is, of Lambro and Dickinson, the other principal engineer, and then another very seasoned engineer. What I can say with that is that their experience has definitely shown in the project. They've been very efficient, responsive. The material that they've produced and submitted to V-Trans for review have had very little edits and comments. So I think that they're doing a great job that way. I just suspect that their original proposal was a little too low given the length of this project.
Well, my concern is that if they bid this job for a price to do the whole job, then that's the way they bid this job. If they shorted themselves, it's not our fault.
Yeah, so...
And then we can negotiate that with them, I guess, when they come around with that. But...
Yeah. I think what's probably best is, they haven't brought up a amendment request yet. This is kind of me looking at the budget and thinking ahead.
Yeah.
I would say when that time comes, you'll have a proposal and, you can be asking, all those, speaking with them directly and negotiating.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, this is Mark. Could certainly appreciate the due diligence with the years of experience, but again, we certainly got to look at that of the cost-wise and what the proposal was before we go too far overboard. That's all.
Yeah. Absolutely. So the next, reading your plan here, so the next step is right away in the process. So when do we plan for construction? Is 2022?
So, I would say realistically, you're looking at 2023 construction, as long as right-of-way goes smoothly. Because if you look at, you still have some significant steps to go. And ideally, with a project like this, you want to be going out to bid in December and January.
Yep.
If you're going to be at a disadvantage, even if we got through design, this spring into the summer, you wouldn't want to start construction in 2022, which is, it's going to be this summer, which sounds so soon. You really want to be going out to bid when it's most competitive, which will be December and January. So, the next step is really focusing on, getting through the right-of-way process as smoothly as possible. You have a lot of property owners that are adjacent to the project. What you do have in your favor is the majority, if not all, of the project is being constructed within the state's right-of-way. So that really minimizes the permanent easements that you will have to be securing from adjacent properties.
Okay. Any other questions for Bethany?
Nope.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So Betsy Fournier, are the updates that Bethany presented to the select board tonight going to be available to the public to review?
Yeah, it's just says their plan, but yeah, no, it's available to anybody who wants to see it.
Okay.
Yeah. Ed, did you have any questions? Are we good? Yeah. All right, anybody else have a question for Bethany? Are we good? Thank you for the update, Bethany.
Absolutely.
All right.
Don't hesitate to reach out.
All right, have a good night. Discuss cross-engineer report from town basement.
Yes, it's similar.
Yeah.
And you give a brief description of it.
A quick description.
Yeah, it's a lot here.
Right.
Yeah.
He came in, the board asked for him to, cross-engineer, to look at the basement because we have a water leakage problem. And also a lot of the old mortar is gone from the field stones that support the historic buildings. In a nutshell, he said they do need to be repointed for strength, but it won't do any good to keep the water out. So part of his proposal is to have trenches done along the sides, the back sides of the building from the hallway back. Underneath this here, it's very shallow, it's like down in space between the girders and the ground. And then have it power washed, the stone, and then sealed. We recommended a company in there that does good sealing. And then put a drain in the bottom and get permission from the village to run it into the sewer line to get rid of the water, because otherwise it's so flat here you can't go anywhere. And he also recommended the AC units that we have create condensation. Most of them are directed to dump it in the basement. And he recommended changing that.
I guess we need to fix that.
Connect that into the sewer line also. And Kathy's room, that one goes outside.
What's that?
Hers.
Yeah, it's outside. Yeah.
But I think all the others are going down, except for the Amy's room. He said that one goes outside also.
Amy don't need air conditioning anyway.
Can we have our AC guys look at that, give us a price on fixing that, so that it doesn't drain into the
Because they
basement?
actually tried to find the drain when they were here, they couldn't, they said they went to nowhere.
I don't know why they would say they drain in the, well, the head's drained, so that could be where the line's coming from. Yeah.
So he recommended having the outside done first to seal it off and then repoint it. He said right now, even though it's lost mortar on the inside, it's not in danger of collapsing, so that can pull off. But the key thing is to get that water, keep it out. So that would have to be.
Did he actually say that in here, that you would be outside first?
Yeah. It's in part of there, you have to read through it. It's pretty long, it's 25 pages. And that in a nutshell, he said right now he didn't see any signs of mold down there, but it could develop in the future. And at that webinar VLCT put on Monday for ARPA, one of the things that you can use ARPA money for is to address possibility of diseases. So we may be able to use that money to fix the basement and not have to use tax dollars for it, because of the black mold issue possibly occurring from the dampness down there. So I'll look into that further. And that would be a big benefit if we could do that.
Well, we need to decide what we're gonna do, because we already told the mason, pending this, we were gonna go ahead with doing the reporting downstairs, so.
Yeah, I think he said that it's a possibility it could get damaged if you do it.
I don't think I read that anywhere in here, but could be. There's a lot of paperwork to read.
I think, not to prolong anything, but just, this is a pretty significant.
I don't think we're pointing at this winter and doing the foundation on the outside in the spring is gonna bother what we did this winter inside, in my opinion, but, yeah.
I would just like to try to read through this, this is pretty neat. Make a decision.
So what are we gonna do? We're not gonna do the reporting in the basement, or we're gonna do the reporting in the basement?
I think what he's saying, James, is that we need to get in touch with this company to have them do the outside work for the drainage prior to doing the pointing.
Yeah.
Is your understanding right, David? That's what I understood when I read it.
Yeah,
I read the whole thing from page to page.
And also the verbal summary he gave me before he did the report, that was more or less the same.
Right.
The water leaking in puts pressure on the.
We ain't gonna fix the outside this late in the year, I know that for sure, so you're gonna have to wait till springtime, so. Yeah.
You're saying to hold off the spring?
Okay, so let me,
The outside,
I can unmute you
this time of
because,
year. Then you can get that,
Okay,
I don't
can
doubt they're
you-
gonna be able to seal that foundation this cold weather. Which, by the time you get somebody contracted and do everything else, it'd be December. So, the ground will be freezing by that time.
So where were we with the guy that was going to do the pointing?
Well, we okayed the price to do the repoint of the basement, pending as long as he said it needed to be repointed was our decision.
do you have an unmute
Yeah.
button on your phone? Because I'm asking you to unmute, but can you unmute?
Yeah.
Can you unmute yourself?
Oh, I forgot to
Get it?
Zoom. When it was happening.
On meeting.
There we go.
There we go, now we can hear you.
I can hear you, Earl.
I think it's,
Alright, you can hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
I think it's fair to say that we at least send out for a request for a quote to take, see what the price is to take care of the outside, see what that comes in at. And then, which way is the best avenue? They're saying, are we gonna get into November, December, January? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you can try, whoever he said.
I think it's important to see what it's gonna cost.
But there's certainly gonna be.
I think Gordon sent an email with Holly about Preservation Trust. There may be some possible funds there, or at least get these guys input as well. I think that's another avenue that we should be at least looking at.
James, there's gonna be more than one company out there that does that type of work?
I don't know any under the ceiling, but I have to look up who he recommended. I mean, you get any excavator to dig it up, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we at least get a.
Yeah, he did put engineering drawings in there for the drainage and so forth. That's someone's bidding could look at.
It doesn't hurt to at least get the quote from the outside.
I'd like to make a motion, James, that we get this guy that he recommended to come in and give us a price.
Okay, you can do that. So we're gonna tell the mason we're holding off on the basement for now then?
I think it's best.
Sounds, I think, in all fairness, the reason that we got Peter's opinion is so to make sure we were moving forward in the next step, and that we weren't gonna have to turn around and deal with this again in 5 years. And if he's saying this should be done before the pointing, I think we gotta respect that recommendation.
Fine by me.
Is there a motion? Did you say a motion?
I made a motion.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
All right, any other discussion?
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah. Earl, you hear us all right?
Not very good,
Yeah.
no, actually, I can't.
We're talking about the foundation.
Put your hearing aids on, Earl.
Did you see the report from Cross Engineering about the issues with the basement?
Well, I just got it handed to me tonight, so I haven't really had a chance to look at it.
Basically, what, in a nutshell, he's saying that we need to excavate the outside of the building and have it sealed, and then repoint the inside. Is basically what he's saying, and then deal with the drainage issue there too. It's his recommendation.
Well, the email that I received on his initial visit was that he was concerned about water entering into the foundation, which would probably not do us any good. Wow, eventually it's going to be a problem again.
Yeah.
Does he have specific recommendations in this report?
There is. There's different things in there he put in there about how to fix the problem, what you should do, and who we should be using, and that can take care of these problems. So that's where Ed just made a motion to contact the person that he recommended that specializes in this work to have us give us a quote on doing that. You follow me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I understand that.
So Ed made the motion, and Mark seconded it. So to contact this person. Any other discussion on it? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Roll call.
Aye.
Earl, aye.
Aye. Now, what about the guy you had for the pointing job?
Hang on 1 second, Earl. All opposed, ayes have it. Well, that was what we were just talking about, because he was gonna do the repointing on the inside this winter, but if we can't do the repointing on the inside, then we're just gonna have to tell him to hold off, and have to rebid it in the future when we're ready to do it.
Well, both jobs need to be done.
They do. Correct. Yeah. But I didn't read through all the report that he sent, but he's saying it, Peter Cross is saying in here that we need to kind of fix the outside before we repoint the inside, is his recommendation.
That's his recommendation.
I didn't read it, but David says that's what reads in there.
I read it.
And you read it? Okay.
I read it, Earl, from page to page, and that's his recommendation, that we should definitely do the outside work prior to doing the work in the basement.
Yep. So that's where we're at. So I guess we'll just tell him we're gonna hold off for now until we figure out what we're gonna do with the outside. Okay?
Yeah, at least until that
whoever Frost recommended, can take a look at it and give us some idea
Yep.
of the costs.
Yeah. Okay. That's where we're at then, so David will get hold of this person you recommended.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Earl, at the workshop I did on ARPA on Monday, we may be able to spend ARPA funds on doing the basement because it relates to health, with the possibility of mold forming down there from the moisture. So that may be a possibility which would save us quite a bit of money.
Good. And you got ARPA update next, David.
Yeah, as I mentioned, Monday I tuned into the webinar on VLCT and ARPA. There was a director of the Rutland Regional Planning Commission, a state official, and a U.S. Treasury Department official giving advice on it. And I have a whole page of it here, but I'll touch on some of the key points. And I think the first key point came from the Treasury official. He said that because the funds have to be committed by 2024 on what the towns are going to spend their money on, there's no big rush to start doing projects immediately and pick something that might not be
We knew that from the start.
in the best
Yeah, we had a
interest.
few years.
And he also mentioned that some could be used for economic development, including paying for an economic development person. And that would be good for up to 2 years, that part of it. Businesses can be helped if they were hurt by the COVID by getting either forgivable loans or grants to improve their business. He said you can pool the ARPA funds with an adjacent community to a common project.
When you say the pool, can you pool with the other municipal government, like the village? Can the town?
Yeah,
and the
that's what he
village-
said, yeah. It could be us or, Highgate, some town that was adjacent, if we had a common project to work on. The other thing it can be used for is to pay for Meals on Wheels. And rental assistance. And this wouldn't apply to the town, but for the village, if there are delinquent people on the water and sewer system, on their bills, they can get them forgiven through the ARPA. In other words, the ARPA would pay up their delinquent bills, and then they wouldn't have to, if they could show hardship, I guess. Oh, another good one. Any expenditure intended to get people outdoors is good for an ARPA project. And because of the fact that when you're outdoors, there's less of a chance of getting COVID. So recreational can benefit from ARPA. And then just in general, they all said that any project that would make the community more transformative would be eligible. So
Sounds good.
that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you for the update. Forest Street Land Committee update.
All right, that is perfect segue, David. We will take all and any money we can get from ARPA.
I figured that was good.
We're just, yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, that was just music to my ear, to our ears. A group of 9, we've been working this. In your package, unfortunately, when it's copied, a couple things didn't come out so great, so I made a copy of the elevation and the site plan, because the one in your package is hard to discern what's going on. Unfortunately, Earl, we'll have to get this to you electronically.
He should have this, I gave him a copy.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
And then the other thing, and this is just done at the last minute, but it still gives you the same idea of what's on that site. Go ahead.
Hey, Earl, do you have that packet from the Forest Street Committee report?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. That's what Joel's gonna talk about.
So Joel, Betsy, Chris, and we got Colleen, and I don't know if Judy's made it on there or not, but there's at least 4 of us on the committee here. So you got the report in front of you. You know, we could spend the next 2 hours and I could read everything, but I don't think you want me to do that. So we'll go right to the executive summary, put that at the beginning of the report. Basically, the 4th Street property, based on the community input that we got, the rec department inputs, feedback from schools, etc. The committee feels this parcel land is ideal for additional space for recreation and community activities. Due to the lot location size, it's ideal for combined recreation and community center. Site development includes space for parking, picnic pavilion, other outdoor activities. We would have a master plan and would prefer that it be done all at once, but it could be accomplished in phases depending on resources available. You'll see the price tag in a minute and why phasing might be important. The Lvrt Western Terminus, we already talked about that in a previous meeting. It's the same sketch, the only difference is it's on the other side of the Lvrt due to wetlands. And you'll see the sketch in here, it shows it on the correct side this time. The state, just as an update, the state has said they are interested in leasing that property to us. I'm going to be sending them a sketch with some dimensions and see what they need to work with the town to get that lease going, but we have had positive feedback from the state regarding that.
That's the east side, Joe, you said?
Yes. Actually, I would call that the south side.
I'm just thinking
Southeast.
east,
Yeah.
I know what you mean, okay.
Yeah. So on that site, just for anyone else who's listening, we recommend putting in a parking lot, picnic pavilion, bike repair stand, bike racks. Also put a slab there for portalets, don't have to be there 360, but there might be different months where portalets might be appropriate. Some discussion of an actual restroom facility, but that gets into a lot more maintenance and care, and we didn't go there. And as far as the grant that we're asking for, it's the stuff that we're covering in this report. Then the existing rec fields, we did spend a little time talking about and looking at some possibilities there, but we don't recommend any changes at this time. We support the rec department's plan to request the town to submit a municipal grant to help determine the best way to maximize that space and how to build out the property. The lower area in the parking lot, one thing I didn't write in here is I think it'd be worth it to spend a little bit of money and get the actual wetlands delineated. The state wetlands expert has been there, but he only gives you some general thoughts. You have to hire somebody to actually do the delineation because the state won't do that. And that would help in any master plan, having that delineation in front of you before the master plan, but that's something for the rec department to discuss. One thing we found is the planning commission is asking for a municipal plan grant in 2021. So my thought is probably gonna have to wait till 2022, and then I think you're meeting with the planning commission tomorrow to see whether maybe you can be
Well,
part
I'm
of
gonna
that.
show up to the meeting, so we'll see how that goes. And there might be some other funding available to apply for a municipal plan. The nice thing is the grant's already written, so it's just ready to submit. And then as I'll talk to the planning commission tomorrow night, it might be a good idea to implement that into the municipal plan that they're gonna create as part of the process. So that might cover that without having to apply, but just write it into the municipal plan.
So that's kind of the executive summary. There are a few other highlights that I'd like to go through, a little bit of the background. Rec department input. David, that package the rec department submitted, is that still on your desk? No, that's it right there.
Yeah.
Very extensive list of their programs, and it covers all the fields in different areas.
Yeah.
So I didn't add that to this report, but wanted to make sure you're aware of it if you haven't seen it. A lot of great information in there. They also gave me a spreadsheet. They gave us a spreadsheet. Whenever I say me, it's us. It's the spreadsheet is, I call it attachment A, and it's a list from 2017 through 2021 of all the different programs they've had. It's in the package on page 1 of 2, particular,
Their packet, or just one you gave us?
it's in this report, it's in the actual report I gave you.
Okay.
And,
Oh, yeah.
on page 1 of 2 at attachment A, you take a look at the summer camp, the vacation camps, and you're seeing numbers in the hundreds and stuff. That's a lot of people for a very small building there. I know it's a very large outdoor area. That building is bursting at the seam. A couple times I stopped by to do Meals on Wheels because they leave the containers there. And the number of kids and stuff trying to be put in what essentially is the garage there is just not adequate. So just some background information of the numbers that they're serving. And then from their report, I looked at what the future programs that they would like to hold, and some of that is dependent upon proper space. So I took stuff out of that report. We took stuff out of that report when we talked about it. And I included that in this report, you know, things like teen nights, leadership groups, after-school programming. They already do some of that. Some of it was done in the teen facility there. Yoga, fitness class and stations, intramural volleyball, cooking workshops are a possibility. Some of this stuff could be done in all age groups. You're talking from, 2 years old up to 82, 92. So there's a lot of possibilities of using such a facility. One thing I wanted to mention, I'll get this right one of these minutes here. While gathering some of the information, when you have 100 people in a location on a hot summer day with possible inclement weather, where do they go? You know, A, to do their activities, and B, for safety if the weather starts changing. So that's another reason I'm a big proponent of trying to get a large facility. They know it's a bad weather day, they plan their activities around 4th Street versus down at the rec fields. But I bring that up. They have different things that they do to help try to alleviate the safety concerns, but it's certainly one that's out there, and I think it helps support a facility. Community input. I don't want to spend a lot of time on the first 3 bullets there because that was briefed to you folks earlier, but the backup information is still in this report at attachment B and attachment C. A lot of people in the community got a chance to get out there, take a look, give their input. If they didn't make it out to the July 24th event, then they were able to participate in an online survey, and they had 126 people respond. The school has sent a letter to you folks supporting the project. I keep hearing about the different courts at the schools booked up. There's a lot going on, and additional space that the rec department could control would allow them to expand their programs and improve what they provide to the community. Aging population, there's a letter from Pam Hunt, definitely supporting the idea, and she works with the seniors, and there's a lot of different programs that could be hosted in this facility if we get to the point where we built it. So that letter is found at attachment E. Moving right along on the 4th Street property, brownfields. There is a small brownfield. That report is dated January of 2006. It's a small area. It's elevated iron and arsenic. I really believe the town should start acting on that. If there's any hopes of keeping this property, which we certainly want to keep the property and want you folks to keep it, why not start that right now? It's not a large amount of material. It's got elevated iron and arsenic. By now, after 15 years, the levels might have been reduced even more, but it's all going to be cleared on paperwork. So to me, that could possibly be a use of highway funds to do that.
No, we do.
Well, we can have that talk after. The proposed project mentioned earlier, so I don't really think we need to reiterate that piece of it. What outdoor stations there are is not definitive at this point. We just listed some that were put on the original plans that were shown at the 24 July site, but that's something this committee would spend more time on if the go-ahead is to continue looking at this. We talked about phasing. Did list, to me, phase 1 is relatively low cost. First thing you gotta get done in phase one is the brownfield mitigation. Gravel entrance and parking is pretty straightforward. I certainly believe the town highway crew could put something in there very quickly. It's just a question of purchasing the stone. Pavilion would be a great community project. I know quite a few people in this room who can swing a hammer, and we could build a pavilion and have a great time doing it, and make it a great community project. Bike rack, bike repair stations, some of the walkways could be installed early for very little money. Some outdoor exercise equipment could be purchased, installed very cheap. Whether we go with tetherball, shuffle ball, or some other court there, that's to be determined, but very easy to install. When we did the school playground when I first moved here years ago, a whole bunch of people showed up there and put that equipment up. Made a great project, and lasted for a lot of years and has since been replaced. But that could be done in phase one. Phase two is where the big money is. Those ARPA funds would be great. Pave the parking area, put some decorative stones around the parking, build the actual community center piece. Phase three would be the indoor court, the large indoor part of the building, complete the walkways. Provided some costs. Those are just planning costs, because depending on what you folks say for us to do, we'll spend some more time looking at costs. Costs have been all over the place in the last 15 months. But trying to put together some better planning costs, we would look into that. We just took a look at some of the stuff and said, we got to put a number down and at least come and talk. And we realized that phase two, phase three would be some kind of combination of grant, possible bond, and possible fundraising. $200,000 is raised pretty easily for playground equipment. You know, we could double or triple that if we had a match for some type of grant, with some fundraising. I really think the amount of effort we put into it will be tenfold what we get out of it for this community. So the next page just showed the possible layout of the building. That there's nothing set in stone with this. This is all preliminary. Originally on the July site, it showed a very long building. We wrapped some of the offices around the court to cut down on the size of the building, make it not look quite so large on the site. Just did a real quick south elevation just to give you some idea what the front of the building might look like. And if you go and take a look at the school, long sloping roof over the gym, you can do something similar there as well. Would look very good in that site. Very hard to see site plan is on the next page. And then the Lvrt Western Terminus, we already talked about that. Has a site plan showing it on what I call the south side. Nothing changed with what we briefed you before, so unless you want to talk more about that. And then we talked about the rec fields and planning grant. So the committee respectfully submits this progress report. We told you we'd get you something final for December. So what we would like to hear back from you is what, you know, this is a non-starter, this is good, but you should look at this, you should look at that, and that's what this committee will do. Chris, Betsy, Colleen, anything you want to add?
No, I think you covered everything, Joel. I think our committee did a really nice job putting this together and really doing our research. As for the rec department, when it comes to land, we're not only busting out with like activities and programming for space, but also our recreation fields. You know, we'd love to add a soccer field and other space to add more opportunity to the community. So the community recreation space would just add more for our community to utilize and a safer place for our community. So I'm just curious on your thoughts and where the select board's at.
I just got two questions right now. Based on the square footage that the design is here, what's the max capacity? Do we know that number?
Max capacity of the building?
Of people inside the building.
I do not have an answer on that. I certainly can get
If
that.
you could, and then I just.
That would be something we'd want to get with the fire department.
Right.
And I don't have that.
And that, the other, just a small concern is, how many parking spots are there minus handicap?
20, that's about 20.
Would that be sufficient for the max capacity? Is the ratio It seems like it's not for the building.
It's a great question, and when I was sitting in your chair and Gordon came before the board about what he was gonna do at Ace, one of my first concerns was parking, and I loved that when Molly got up and said, that would be a great problem to have. If that was our only problem, and your concern is good, but I look at a lot of these after evening events, the school parking lot is right across the road.
Right, just if it's not, then where we park the cars.
They would park along the streets, like with the funeral and other things, and, yeah, it's not, if we had the land, we'd put an 80-car lot there, but a lot of people are gonna walk there because it's in the village, fairly accessible. More than one person might come in a car, so if you got 20 spaces, you might have already 40 people that, you know, might come by cars. Yeah, I agree, Mark, it would be nice to make it a little bigger.
Picking people up, you know, how is that gonna?
Well, and I think the nice thing about Swanton is that it's really movable and you can access a lot of our community spaces with our rec paths and our sidewalks. I think that our town and our village have done a beautiful job of creating a movable community. So where there's not parking, we can move and get to point A to point B safely.
That were just my only initials looking at it.
Those are very valid.
Yeah, they're very, very good.
Representation, just never my initials.
Yeah, I was curious, the same thing, how many people are building a whole.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a pretty good size number when you look at those rooms, some of them that, at least one of them there I know has a possible divider in it, you know, you're talking like 20 by 40, it's a pretty good size room. There's a couple rooms, and again, that layout's not set in stone.
No.
That is stuff that ought to be looked at, maybe the lobby gets cut down a little bit, et cetera.
How big is the main part of the building? You got it?
The community center piece, it's on the estimate.
I saw the square footage, but I didn't know what the dimensions was.
Oh, the dimension?
Yeah. Yeah, it was
You're
almost
talking
6,000 square feet.
the offices around 30 feet,
Yeah.
running up,
Yeah.
you're right
Yeah.
on that side, about 30 feet, and then coming out almost 70 there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good size,
Yeah, oh no, there's a lot that could be done with that facility. And again, the floor plan, at a point, if it ever went forward, you get an architect involved, and they're gonna help you do even a better job. This is,
Utilize it better.
yeah.
No, I appreciate all your hard work all the way on it. It was good.
Would it be something by next meeting, if there's any comments, or do we take what we have right now and just run it to final and get it to you?
I think we should chat on it a little bit.
Sure.
We were thinking, and then we can get back to it.
Yeah.
We're changing it.
By the end of next meeting maybe, and that way we got enough time
We'll get back
to...
to you before the next meeting, so.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate to digest it.
Yeah, well,
get
exactly.
ideas, and, I mean, Nicole's not here,
Yeah.
Earl's not in the room, so
Yeah.
it'd be nice to
Yep.
kind of,
And feel free to call, and I'll gladly meet anybody at any time to provide more info.
Ed, you got anything on? No. Earl, you got any questions on that?
Well, I like a lot of the things that you're talking about for sure. I think there's a big need for it. It's just not as highly a visible location for a community center that I would like to see. A lot of the other uses they're proposing on there is fine. I think if we're going to go that way, we need to probably, I would like to keep in mind that, you know, there may be some use of that for daycare too, being next to the school. We don't know what kind of changes are going to come in the future, what kind of funding, if there's going to put significant effort into doing daycare, childcare, especially at younger ages. Might be something coming down the pipe in the future. It's just my thoughts on it. I think the committee has done a hell of a job. You know, we told them they had a lot of work to do, and they've done a lot of work. You know, phase one appears something that, you know, I'd be willing to go forward with.
Okay. All right, anything else, Earl?
No?
Okay. All right, thank you. Thanks again, folks. Great job.
thank you.
Thank you.
What's this? ERSA, Real Trail? update?
Ursa,
Ursa.
grant, that's on page 3, and that was the latest communication from, I believe the trail committee applied, or is interested in getting a grant.
Oh, okay.
And there's
Well, I
quite
didn't know
a
what the
bit of,
abbreviation meant, so,
quite a bit of competition for it, but
yeah.
there's a short email from the Ursa representative explaining the status, the current status of all these grant applications that have come in.
They've
So-
received 60 unique applications through 99 projects requesting $5.6 million in funding. It's a lot of money.
So according to this, they're gonna prioritize them and then pick what they think are the best to go forward with.
So have we applied for this grant?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
We sent,
Well, actually,
the
it's a
town
letter of
signed off,
Yeah.
we helped get the letter written
Yeah.
of intent.
Okay,
We're waiting back next week, we should hear whether or not we get to submit formally.
okay,
And by the end of November, the whole get rule.
all right, makes sense now. Okay,
And that was that.
that's that, all right, perfect. What else we got here? Discuss Maple Grove State speed limit request, that, couple ladies. Oh. Hello?
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. Anyhow, a couple ladies zoomed into our a couple meetings ago about the speed limit signs on Maple Grove Estates, stated that there was only one speed limit sign. I went out and looked myself, there's actually 2 speed limit signs. Somebody's not muted. Yeah.
Well, that was Jim.
Yeah.
But he was, that was a woman.
Yeah, I don't know, anyways, we'll keep going. So anyways, there's 2 speed limit signs on there at 30 miles an hour, one going in, one coming out, which are where they need to be. They also requested a child at play sign. After doing some research, we can't legally put a child at play sign up there because now apparently the town's liable if they put those kind of type of signs up. Things have changed over the years apparently. And we, like Dave talked about here, that we're gonna do a speed study on that road, so. I know those ladies aren't on tonight. Do you still have their contact information?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you let them know that we can't put that sign up and there is 2 speed limit signs there? And they obviously probably seen the speed cart there now, so just let them know that we're doing that speed study and we'll get back to them once we get the facts. Anything else on that? Ed, you good?
I'm good.
All right, new town business, discuss cemetery accounts with Brian Savage.
Oh, I guess I'm on.
You're on time. Oh, you're now.
Got his map.
Keep that, we can evaluate that right there, we can change things.
Yeah. You see, yeah, he's surprised that we move around.
Jay, I didn't, before I said, the town can't put a sign up that children at play?
Apparently not, yeah, believe it or not, we checked with the leagues of the city and town and we can't put that up because I guess, how did you say it, David? It gives
It's
a,
given the wrong, it's given.
I never heard anything so crazy either.
It goes up in one place, then people expect them everywhere, and more than children. And it gives the kids a false sense of security that they can go on the road and
That
play.
doesn't mean that they can play in the road.
Yeah.
Holds the town liable.
Right,
And they can
because it's a
almost
town
download.
sign, yeah. And so they,
Who would have thought?
I know, I couldn't believe it either when they told me when I asked to get a sign,
I've seen them in other places.
Yeah.
But must be
Yeah,
they-
I can remember when I was a kid, but you don't see many of them anymore, but,
That's true.
I mean, these, no,
Recently I've seen them, but
yeah.
they must be grandfathered in or something. if
Mark
it's-
played in the road all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if parents need to get out, they'll play the road, play around.
Yeah. But, yeah,
I do seem to recall when I was on the village board, we had a request, I think it was, well, that was quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I think it was the same.
Same scenario, yeah.
Deal. I guess that's.
Oh, there's Joel. Joel, did you want that map, blueprint you put up here?
Not tonight, if you
Okay.
want us to look at it,
All right,
it's just
sure.
easier to see than the other.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Yep.
So,
For your own, sir.
as the board knows, I'm on the cemetery commission, and the cemetery commissioners are board of 5 of us that oversee the cemeteries that are owned and operated by the town, which are the Riverside Cemetery, Greens Corner Cemetery, there's a cemetery out on Route 7 at the bottom of Woods Hill Road, and can't think of the fourth one. Whatever, not,
This one over here.
This one over there, right there in our backyard, Church Street Cemetery. For the past.
Brian, excuse me, not to interrupt you, but could you move to the table, because people who are on Zoom can't hear you.
Oh, sure, yeah, actually, the chair is more comfortable there, so.
I bet it is.
Since I've come on the board, a few things happened. First of all, we weren't able to meet in a timely manner because of COVID. And we have yet to meet as an entire group. However, Gary Senebar and I have met, and Gary, of course, has been kind of overseeing the Cemetery Commission and doing the work that's done. So he said that he had heard that there was money, and the way this works is the Cemetery Commission has its own funds.
That's right.
And in addition, there was, he has accounts, the Cemetery Commission has the operating accounts, if you will, at the People's United Bank. But he said there was funds at the People's Trust Company that were opened years ago, and he didn't really know what was in there and whatnot, so he and I went to the People's Trust Company, and they were open. They can't give us any information because our names are not on the account. They're not listed under the town. They're the Swanton Cemetery Commission. They've got an EIN number, the federal ID number. It's not the town of Swanton. We don't know who it belongs to. They can't tell us who it belongs to. They don't know. And the 2 signers that are left that I believe are still living is Charlie Prouty and Don Bell. And of course, neither one of those gentlemen are that Don is now living with his daughter in Georgia, and Charlie is the one who's still local. I believe Kathy got in touch with Charlie. Mm-hmm. And so what Charlie did was go up to the bank and sign the papers that would be needed for us to be able to do something with that.
Yeah.
Well, we still can't do anything because we're still not on the account, so it's like a catch-22. So if the bank maintains it was set up, and it's probably correct, that it was set up as a non-profit organization, and enable for us to change the signers and everything else on that, we would have to have a verification of the EIN number. We also would have to file Form 990s at the end of the year. We have to have bylaws and minutes of board meeting outlining the changes. We have to show that we're a 501c3, which probably has never applied for. That's the tax exempt status.
Yeah.
And a charter and mission statement. So then I asked, well, the cemeteries are municipal land, they're owned by the municipality, and the money is basically municipal funds, although it's structured as a cemetery commission. So why can't they just be set up as a municipal account? Mm-hmm. And that way you don't have to worry about the Form 990s and all this other stuff. We know that it has an EIN number. And so she said, yeah, that would work. So what I'm looking for from this board is for, as it relates just to the account at the People's Trust Company at this time, because Gary and I are going to go pay a visit at the People's United Bank and see just how those are set up. And we may have to be back to have the same thing done, but we would like the town to set that up as a municipal account at the People's Trust Company. We don't know if we're going to keep the account open, but we're going to find out how much in there. I think it's around $27,000, mm-hmm. but I'm not sure. Okay. But able to do that, you people need to fill out this corporate resolution for municipal accounts. And then who's going to be the authorized signers on the account. And right at the present time, we just as soon keep, probably Gary Senebar and one other of the cemetery commissioners as the authorized signers. Just because we are not even sure, we may even just close that account, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking for there. I'm also, I wear a lot of different hats, I find out, maybe too many. I am in the trustees of public money, okay? And I spent a great deal of time, there are 3 funds in the trustees of public money. There's the R.L. Varney Fund, which has been in existence since at least 1880. And then there's the Homer Skeels Fund that's been around since 1977. And then there's the cemetery funds, which over the course of the years, the cemetery commission would give money to the town, and it would go to the trustees of public money and be put in there. And that's grown substantially over the years, and it's now to the tune of slightly over $160,000 in there.
What are the other 2 funds for?
Well, that's a good question, and that I'm still doing research. The R.L. Varney Fund was established prior to 1880, and what I did was take several days and come in here trying to, I was going to look through for trustee for selectmen's minutes, but it was actually easier if I just looked at the town reports.
Wow.
So I went to the town reports all the way back to 1880, and the R.L. Varney Fund was in there at $20,000.
Must have been interesting just to read it though.
In 1880, $20,000 was equivalent to $525,000 today.
Wow. Yeah.
So, but it's still at $20,000 because the town would take the interest of that and it goes to the town general fund, and so it's still sitting
No, it
at
goes to
$20,000.
the cemetery fund.
Oh, it goes to the cemetery.
Goes,
fund.
any interest.
All the interest
All
goes
the
to the
interest goes to the
cemetery.
cemetery
Okay.
fund.
Stand corrected. And so that's there. The Skeels Fund, it was a Homer Skeels, and I had to ask Sandy Skeels Kilburn if she had any information on it. She did give me some information, and we're not sure if there's descendants of Homer still around. They were they're in the Montpelier area, and Homer Skeels at one point was a president of the bank of Montpelier, and may have had something in state government with him. That's for a smaller amount, that's like $10,000, slightly less than $10,000, but it was given to the town in memory of his daughter. And it was done recent, 1977, and it's still sitting there. And I'm not sure. I would like to try, and I'm going to endeavor to try to find a member of that family and see, what it just sits there. I mean,
What
it's
were your
fine.
wishes for it? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the rest of it, and then the bulk of it, of course, is the trustee, is the cemetery fund. There's work that needs to be done in the cemetery to that building that's down there that may be not exactly cheap because it's a historic
slate roof.
It's a slate roof, so it's going to be replaced with slate roof. But clean it up and repair it, so that'll be what we're working on. But that'll come later, and we've got some further work that has to be done. But the immediate thing is to try to figure out what this account at the People's Trust Company is. So, I just, and then we'll be back when we find out what.
So those other 2 funds you're just talking about, where does that money actually sit?
It's,
Funds,
Yeah.
we have them, I balance them every night.
Oh, okay.
they're reported in the town report.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just was curious.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
they're just, years ago,
Yeah.
the town was operating its own lending institution by loaning money out on mortgages and whatnot.
Yeah.
And but that, of course, was a very dangerous practice.
Yeah.
And there was a change in the Board of Trustees of Public Money probably back in the mid-70s, so they stopped that practice, the loans were paid back. And, but they used it to finance quite a number of homes that were constructed with that money.
Even up to the 70s? 1970 or 1870s?
No, 1970s.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so they were, I don't know when the last one they gave out, but there was definitely law changes. You just can't start being a mortgage company without, and there was that concern, so that's why they stopped that.
The state wasn't making the money on it.
No,
So, but my thing tonight is to just see if you guys would make a resolution to declare the funds of the Cemetery Commission, the People's Trust Company, as a municipal account, so that we can get that, and we get this filled out, which I'll ask, I don't know, Kathy, are you used to filling these out?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we sign that for that declaration, yeah.
I second it.
Okay, I'll give that right over.
discussion.
So are you and Gary gonna?
Earl, did you hear all that,
Because
what
I
Brian was
put-
saying?
I heard most of it, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
and then Kathy just raised a good point, so
Yep.
that on that account, then also that Gary Senabar and myself would
Be
be
appointed.
the appointed authorized signers,
Okay.
and it'll only take one signature, but.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I just need that in order to complete this form.
Who needs to sign that form, us or just you can sign it?
No, you, all of you
All
will
right,
sign.
Okay, all
So
right.
I'll leave that in your.
All right, you made a motion, Ed seconded it,
So,
we got the motion right, what we need to see on the paper?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So thank you, gentlemen.
No,
Thank you for your work on that.
Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Alright,
Aye. Any opposed, ayes have it.
Thank you
you'll
for
have to stop me to sign it.
Yes,
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah, just when you get all signed, let us know.
Just slide it into the door, Earl.
I want you to answer who's gonna do this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Brian, for all that information.
And I'll return back to this and await my next
Okay,
appearance.
that's done. Sign letter V-Trans regarding Pinnell Road sign.
Yeah,
They need to sign that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They require.
We had to, we paved down the Pinnell Road, so it changed the elevation of the
Yeah, I
train
saw that.
trestle, so we had to change the sign down there for the pipe.
It's already done, I see.
It's all done, we have to sign this paper, I guess David says, so. I'll sign that.
I will, sir.
Hand scratching, yeah. That one's for you to sign.
No, I need that, I have to sign that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, what else we got on here? Budget and then job description?
Yep, that's for me.
Yeah, that's for you, okay.
Should
Yeah,
you
that's
sign
you next,
when I'm ready?
So I submitted the town administrator job description update, secondary to Nicole doing one as well, that I felt that I had been working on. I submitted to you guys a week ago because I thought we were getting to a deadline even closer to getting this set up in David's departure. There was some admissions, some changes. I got with Brian, a couple questions today on some charter stuff. Still got to make a couple spelling and adjustments on that charter, but there was some highlighted yellow stuff that I'd also want us to look at, and part of it's going to be under executive session, so whether we approve this one or Nicole's, I just think that it's important that we get this going sooner than later.
Absolutely.
Because we're under a 3-month mark now for David, so. Like I said, part of it is under executive
We
session.
can finish it in executive session then if you
Then we'll
want.
come out.
Yep, and then just make a motion.
Finish
for
it.
that.
Yep.
All right, I just wanted to put it out there, I put on your budget, David, it's time to set out reminders.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's that time of year, so
Right,
people get
Yeah.
the ball rolling.
yeah, they'll start.
I don't wanna wait till January 1st to get all the budgets, so.
No, but we always start them early
Yeah.
and they keep putting them off.
Okay. All right, so send out a reminder to all of them. And actually, I'll cheat, we're talking about budgets here, how are we with the library, with our discussions?
It's kind of in my court, really. I haven't had a chance to get with David. I really want to get with Kathy as well. Three of us kind of look at where they are budget-wise, what we feel off the MOU that we kind of agreed on in principle, and see what questions Kathy may have of us or of them and they of you. So I think if three of us can sit down sometime next week,
Okay.
the quicker the better.
Not next week,
You're out all week?
no. Last week to collect taxes.
Oh.
Unless you wanna do it after work.
Yeah.
It won't happen during the day, you know.
No, I wouldn't do that to you. So David, if we could maybe push the budgets, not, the libraries not to be first, but maybe to the middle to the end. I think
Yeah.
we're always in that area.
Yeah, it's fine.
We'll wait till that's done and then we'll get together
Yeah,
and
I'm
do
looking
one.
at the 50.
Well, it's just more of a reminder for people
You know, I
Start working
understand.
on it. It's coming.
It was in my court, I haven't had a chance to get to it. so
Nope,
I
that's okay.
apologize for that, Rebecca's asked a couple times.
Yep.
It's on my agenda.
Economic development. Elizabeth, you still with us? You are.
So I will be in person next week, the next meeting to give my monthly update. But I had one thing I kind of wanted to mention is I emailed you on my weekly updates last week.
Yep,
And then
good job, thank you for that.
I emailed you separately the newsletter that FCIDC puts out through Constant Contact.
Yep.
Did you all see that email?
Yes,
Just so
I
you
did.
know what we were
Yeah.
talking about.
Yep.
Excuse me, FCIDC does it quarterly. Constant Contact is an email campaign, and I know that the regional chamber uses it as well as do others. It's $20 a month. You can do unlimited emails, and you can have up to 5 people, 5 users. So, you know, the Rec Commission came to my mind as somebody who could use it. I think it could be a great tool to get information out to the community. You can integrate it with Facebook, so that if you put a newsletter, it'll automatically go to a Facebook page that you designate. And I know we have a community, not the unofficial community page, but we have a kind of official community page that people can't comment on, that I know that Nicole runs. So I just wanted to put it out there because it is an inexpensive way to get the word out there. And I kind of, I made a kind of a list of things, a reminder that taxes are due. We could talk about, you could have a little article on dog licenses are due. One of the big things is funding opportunities. There are so many of them, and I reach out to people that I know, but we're not reaching everybody. So I think this would give us a bigger reach, particularly on funding opportunities. Those times when the offices are closed for holidays or special events. The meeting notices could be included, depending on how often we wanted to mail out. Pictures, you can put up pictures of the community or of events just to kind of show what's going on in Swanton. And then events. We have a lot of things that go on in Swanton, and I know one of the things that we hear is that people don't always know about them. So I think, again, it's another great tool that we could use as a community to get the word out there. And for $20 a month, again, if we have multiple users, you could put out one email just talking about like a reminder that taxes are due, or the dog licenses are due. It doesn't have to be as lengthy as the one because FCIDC does it quarterly. It can get a little lengthy. At some point we had to say, okay, enough is enough and cut it off. So it can be as long or as short as you want it to, but I just thought I would throw that out there for the select board to consider.
For $20 a month, it doesn't seem like it's a huge ask, or maybe what the possibility of reward could be for the amount of people that it can reach out and touch. And not everybody has Facebook, social media. We have a lot of that. Maybe it's another avenue to be in contact with people or vice versa. So I have no problem with it.
Sounds good to me. What do you think?
I'm good with it.
Earl, did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with doing that
Nope.
either. Any way we can make this work. We got a lot of, like just social media issues that we need to deal with. I can tell you, sitting here at this, front of this computer, the audio is terrible. So we got a lot of things to do with, either gonna make, the town more accessible for people because that's the way they do things now. So I don't have a problem with doing it either. In fact, I'll make the motion now we do it.
Perfect.
Wow, I second it.
All right. Any other discussion?
So the other thing I can add, Elizabeth, if you can come up with maybe the 5 identifying possible users, so to speak, if we want to go that avenue.
Sure. And I think I would ask for a little input, obviously the Rec Commission line. There are other organizations which I didn't put on the list of people that we can reach out to. The library, the Historical Society, the Chamber all came to mind.
Yeah.
How do we include or exclude, because if you're gonna count those 3 or 4 that I threw off the list, there may be others that we don't want to exclude just because we're out. So, I think that's a consideration. I think probably, and it's very easy to use. Having said that, there is a learning curve, a little one, because it can be a little finicky. But, yeah, let me think on that, and I'll make my suggestions.
Okay.
I don't have any problems, obviously, being one of them. And then we can kind of go from there.
Okay.
Okay.
I would like to offer you a suggestion. I think the Swanton Enhancement Committee might be one of the people that would be involved with that. They're doing a lot here in the town, they're proposing different things, and it would be a good way to get more of that information out.
Sure. Well, there's also, I don't want to have just, a few people being funneled a bunch of information, but that is another option if we do have to, if we run out of spaces. There's nothing that says that, hey, if you have an event going on, let us know, and then we can put it in there. But I don't disagree with you, Earl.
All right, we got a motion in a second. We had our discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
Anything else tonight? Yep.
Just real briefly, I will throw out there, since it is October and we're talking budgets and stuff, this position does expire at the end of the year.
Yes, I got your email about that.
I know.
Yeah.
So,
We'll discuss and we'll get with you.
okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. Have a good night.
You too, thanks.
Yep. Highway, discuss passive application for new culvert streamer. I'll wait for David to come back on that one. I think all it is.
Sorry.
All it is it's a grant, some grant money that we've been trying to figure out how to spend, and there's a culvert on the Campbell's Bay Road that we can replace with it, which leads to the lake. These culvert replacements and work has to be stream related waterways. It has to lead to, so.
And they've granted us,
Yeah.
a little over $12,000.
A little over $12,000.
They probably wouldn't pass that much for that one.
Yep.
No,
We'll
see what else we can find. Okay,
count.
so you're gonna apply for that, David?
We already have it.
You already have it, we have the money, yeah, okay. Alright. Do we need, you don't need to do nothing with it then? Just announce
Just to
Need a-
move to authorize me to sign the.
it. Alright, so I need to make a motion to have David sign this? Yeah.
I'll make that motion for David to be the authorized signature.
I second it.
I got a first and a second, any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Earl, Mr. Butcher? Aye, alright, opposed? Ayes have it.
Go back to A.
What's that?
You wanna go back to A, discuss passive new culvert steamer?
Yes,
We talked about the grant and aid.
yeah, I actually was,
For that one, it would be a passive grant.
yeah, I was sorry.
They would
Yeah.
pay for half of it.
Yeah,
Because it kind of went.
I lost my train of thought, I didn't know where I was going.
That's right.
Yeah, my mistake, yeah. Yes, the new culvert steamer, we're working on getting a couple estimates because the insurance company doesn't like the antique steamer we have, which works phenomenal, of course, go figure. So we got to, working on, we gotta get 3 estimates, and then, do we know how much passive grant we'll apply for, David, or spend up to?
We'll get one of the higher ones because of what we pay them. They base
Yeah.
what the granite community, the
Okay,
upper limit on how much you
Yeah.
pay them every year.
Yeah.
We're up there. But I don't have the schedule right in front of me, so.
Yeah.
It'll be half, as long as it's a reasonable amount.
no.
If you wanted something else, then.
Yeah, there's a cart we have to have, which I really don't agree with these guys on this thing. It's a quickie chop saw, it's gas powered for cutting stuff. They think we need to put it on a cart. Well, how do you use it if you put it on a cart? It's made to pick up and cut pipe or whatever else. We have a walk behind cut saw for cutting cement and concrete and everything else. I don't understand their,
That was based off that report.
it was based off that report. I think that we need to email them back and say, hey, I don't understand where it
Yeah, we
comes
just
from.
don't, yeah.
Well, yeah, I said, so what's the difference if we lift that saw with a chainsaw, cut a tree down? You're not gonna put chainsaw on a cart. I mean, I don't get where they're coming at with these things. So, and the other thing was we're working on getting some guards for the drill press that they want. They took care of the other stuff.
The other small stuff.
Yeah, the grill, the punches and stuff, they took care of those, so.
Anyway, I need to have, you authorize me to apply for that,
Okay,
whenever we do.
the grant, okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to have David apply for the grant, passive grant for the new culvert seamer and the cart we gotta get after inspection.
I like that motion.
All right, can I get a second on that motion?
Second.
A second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Any other updates? I just spoke to the salesman tonight about the new dump truck. They're still waiting on the dump body. Apparently there's 16 bodies they built and they're in the process of shipping them. Supposed to be shipped in the next week or two.
Do we go get it?
Well, that's what I give them a little flack because I said, you told us that body was in stock when we bought this truck.
Of course it.
And now I don't know what the deal is, but supposedly it's all painted, all you do is put it on. So hopefully we'll see it soon, but everything else is on the truck. It's just, they're 4 weeks behind or 5 weeks behind if I manufacture or something. Just like everything else in this country is behind, so. But that's the update on the truck. The guy's got the sand shed filled. And the other thing we're waiting on is the salt price. Usually we have our salt prices by now. I don't understand why we don't have our salt price. I guess the state doesn't have their salt price. So we can't buy any more salt until we settle the salt price deal. And so we're waiting on that. We got our liquid stuff yesterday morning. I was up there. We're still roadside mowing, doing our brush hog and stuff.
Full crew.
Yeah, all our guys are working. I can't think of anything else. I think that's it. You guys got anything right away?
Nope.
Alright.
Busy season coming.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what Kevin mentioned yesterday about putting the plow frames on as it cut it out. So, and they are going back to their 5 days a week this week, so, or next week it starts, right? This week, yeah. This week, so. And any unnecessary business, the flag sponsorship, still got a few of those left?
Nope,
they're all sold out. Okay.
Nice.
All right.
This past week.
We got more work to do this year.
Take that
don't we?
off the agenda then, so.
Yeah.
All right.
We're always looking for volunteers.
Yeah, we'll start advertising for that right now. Yeah. Okay, correspondence, David, you got any of them?
No.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, they were incorporated.
They're incorporated, yeah, I'm just picking, it's always something. Public comment, anything that's not on the agenda? We're good. Upcoming events, next planning commission meeting is Wednesday, October 6th, 7 p.m. in person, 1 Academy Street here at Swanton Town Hall. Next select board meeting is Tuesday, September 21st, 7 p.m. in person and by Zoom, 1 Academy Street.
It's the October 19th.
What's that?
Our next, we're in October, so our next select board meeting is gonna be October 19th.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm glad you corrected that. I rattled one away, it wasn't intentional. So our next select board meeting is October 19th. And the next DRB meeting is Thursday, October 28th, in person or public, and that's at 121st Street, the Village Complex, they're having that. And I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session, discuss personnel.
I move that we find that we enter executive session for the select board to receive confidential contract personnel information for premature disclosure of it to the general public will clearly place the select board and others at a substantial disadvantage.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Earl?
Excuse me, that should include a contract too, for the,
Contract.
discussing with Robin Hood.
All right, well,
That
contract.
involves a contract.
Earl, you still awake?
Earl, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, we just made a motion to go into executive session.
Yeah.
Everyone said aye. Where are you? Are you aye?
Well, I won't be able to be involved.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
You can stay right on there. We'll mute everybody else out. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So you're aye?
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Opposed? Ayes have it.
I move that based on our just made findings that premature disclosure that would place the select board and others at a substantial disadvantage, we enter executive session.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, ayes have it. We're now in executive session at 8:38.